Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you some Hearts of Iron 4 templates that work for Battle of the Bosporus, but also are going to be some really good inspiration templates for when the new DLC No Step Back comes out. Even though combat width is going to change drastically, these are templates you can start using today, and even when the update comes out, still use for inspiration, because I'm going to cover some base mechanics and also show you some really cheesy strats that aren't going to really change with these templates when the new update comes out. All you have to do is adjust the combat width and also adjust the template a little bit, but it should be fairly easy. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video. First off, we have what every single division should be for your main army divisions. I said that wrong. This should be the main template for anybody in multiplayer or single player really, but mainly multiplayer. So the support companies are optional for all of these templates, but I just have them on there because these are what I recommend if you can get them into these divisions. So the base infantry division is supposed to hold everything possible. That's why I have an AT in here, but it's not really necessary. Also, you can get rid of the support Arty, support rocket Arty. You should only do those if you have a ton of production to begin with that you really don't need. AA, I really like to have in these anyway, just because I don't always have air superiority sometimes, and if you did get rid of that anyway though, it wouldn't affect the template by a huge amount. It would just kind of affect it, but it would mostly get rid of the air attack, which is pretty bad. So this is what I like to do. Now the 20 width is really the main infantry division because the combat width is 20, which means it can get really often, you can get 4 divisions in like every battle minimum guaranteed. And because of that, if you have like 10 divisions, the combat width will let you reinforce into the battle with the reserves and kind of cycle them, because the combat width is 20, which means by the time 1 or 2 have fallen back out of the battle, the other 1 or 2 have already kind of gotten their organization back up anyway, and they can just reinforce into the battle anyway. So this is a really good template in general like that. Second, we have one of my favorites to use in multiplayer, delay infantry. This is actually most of the time banned in multiplayer for major countries because of how unfair this is, but it's the same kind of rule, but because the combat width is 10, it's almost never ending. Unless you can really pierce like tons and tons of divisions, or not pierce, but overrun them very quickly, this division can pretty much just continuously reinforce the front line, but because it requires extra support equipment, it's a little bit more expensive to do this strat compared to 20 widths. Anyway. Next, we have AT divisions. Yes, I know, in multiplayer games, people usually go heavy tanks, almost always, like 95% of the time, but every once in a while you will get someone who goes light tanks or mediums. In this situation, I usually like to have at least 12 or 20 of these templates if I'm America. This one up here, I'll show you in a second, is what I'm talking about. Down here, I like to just have some of them here and there kind of scattered, just in case they're going lights or mediums, and I'm not really prepared for it because light tanks, medium tanks are able to get more out. So here we have 2 AT guns, 1 support AT. Now the piercing on this is 64. Most heavy tank divisions will have 80 to 100 armor, somewhere in that ballpark, so this is not going to really pierce an armored a heavy tank division, unfortunately, but it can sometimes pierce mediums, definitely will pierce lights. Also, the AA helps out a little bit for the air attack, but not really required, and will help you get your org up a little bit more if you need it. Next, this is the one I like to use, and sometimes, for some weird reason, it does pierce heavy tanks, especially if you have all of the AT research done. So, by the way, all of the stuff in this video, I'm using 1941 era equipment, including the tanks I'm going to show in the next one. So, for some reason, even though the piercing is not actually high enough to pierce a tank division with 80 or 85 armor, it will still pierce the division for some reason and cause tank losses. I don't know why this happens. I don't know if it's something to do with some of the battles, but I've never been able to truly figure out what it is. I don't know what it is, like I was saying, that actually causes it to do this, but I kind of quit trying to figure it out and just sort of started embracing it. But this is actually a really good template and works very often doing this. Next up, we have one of my favorite divisions to use as the United States, and that's a Garrison Division for the Pacific. The reason there's 2 AA guns in here is if you're playing the United States, Japan more often than not will already have carrier fighter 2s by the time the war starts, and you'll just have regular fighter 2s. They'll also be able to produce much more than you because of their bonuses. And the most difficult part, all of Japan's islands are pretty much dedicated dead center in these air zones, which means They can get air superiority, which means bonuses against you in naval invasions and things, way more easy than you could ever hope to actually contest it sometimes, unless Japan just got lazy and didn't work on air. Which is why I like this, because one, it has AA guns in it, which means the piercing's there to stop Japan's from using light tanks. Second, even though it has only 37 org, it's still got 160-ish defense because of the entrenchment and the engineer companies. So this is a good one to throw in with just, say, 10-wit infantry only kind of garrison templates, but I very much recommend trying to put 2 AA in them because that's what I like to do and that's what always works for me. Next, we're going to show you the heavy infantry, medium, or heavy tank little template. The reason I like doing this, and by the way, this is definitely banned in multiplayer games, and I'll also explain the field hospital in a second. The reason I like actually having a medium heavy tank or a medium tank destroyer in these, if it allows it in the rules, is because you have enough piercing to stop medium and light tank rushes, which sometimes in multiplayer I've been noticing people are going mediums even though it's not the meta. People have been going mediums a lot more often in multiplayer so they can get more divisions out, or they just don't have the ability to get enough chrome to do heavy tanks and they do mediums. This actually has almost enough piercing in these templates to stop people from doing offensive pushes against you. So, and also a lot of my infantry divisions, I do have a field hospital in. That's because if you have field hospitals in your templates and you actually end up, well, using those infantry divisions, you lose 20% less XP. Especially as Japan, you will lose like, I think 40% less XP because one of their field marshals actually has a XP loss modifier. So field hospitals are really good in this game, especially in infantry divisions, because they will give you up to 50% experience bonuses because they just won't lose very much XP. Next, we have an Arty Battalion. These templates, the Arty Battalion and Arty Division, only I would recommend for superior firepower players because the soft attack is so high in them when you do this strat. So the field hospital is a must, support rocket Arty, support Arty, must, engineer company is a must. But this is the basic template because even though it doesn't have a lot of org right now, once you guys actually do any of the doctrines, you'll definitely have over 30 org, and sometimes with superior firepower maxed out, this tiny division will have up to like 400 soft attack sometimes. So it's actually really incredible to see this template in action in multiplayer. And this is what I like to use as a minor nation like Australia sometimes. I'll throw 1 or 2 of these out there or something like that. Then we have an Arty Division, which is the same thing. Same rules apply for support companies. It's just double stack though. So the defense, the soft attack, you can see without any doctrines whatsoever, it's still 442 soft attack with this. And the org will be like at 35 to 40. You'll take a lot of losses, so I would recommend sometimes adding a maintenance company if you can to increase your reliability in combat, but not crazy necessary. But you will need to produce a lot of Arty and a lot of infantry equipment if you're going to use this division to push people. But against infantry, this works so well, it's unbelievable. Next, Paratroopers. I've noticed some people recommend 2 wits for Paratroopers. I used to do that to kind of like troll people a little bit in multiplayer. I was trying to use 10 wits occasionally, but 20 wits are kind of the meta for it. 40 wits are really even though the 20 wits are the meta for it, I recommend using the 40 wits, but most of the time 20 wits will do a pretty good job on their own. So you want to have a logistics company as a must because these are going to drop behind enemy lines, which means they're not going to have any supply. So you want to reduce as much supply as they use as possible. Second is a field hospital. Because they're behind enemy lines, they're going to be pretty much needing troops and the trickle back for some reason. With paratroopers, I've noticed, and I could be wrong about this, I might just be seeing things, but for some reason, trickle back actually is affecting divisions encircled sometimes with field hospitals as long as their support company is actually there. Next is support rocket Arty and support Arty to increase your soft attack so you can hold out even longer and cause more problems to the enemy or actually attack garrison divisions. And then of course just a simple 20 width because, well, it's small enough that you can get a lot of them out if you have a fairly big sized army, but also not crazy big that you only have like 2 or 3 of them. So Next, we have a Marine Division. Sorry, not next. For the Marine Division, I like to use mostly Marines with 2 Arty, right? The reason is because if you use too much Arty to give you enough soft attack bonuses in the battle, you're going to lose your amphibious bonuses. You're going to start getting penalties for attacking over rivers, over the sea, anything like that. And really, having a short bombardment bonus for a 25% combat by moving your navy with the division to naval invade somewhere, that should be enough with these 2 Arty that you won't suffer too big a penalty to your amphibious operation bonuses for having Marines. Also, because these over here are in your support company, first off, you're going to save more Marines, which means it's going to be an experienced division, which is going to be better. Logistics you want in here because they're going to be encircled. These over here because you want them to have more soft attack and everything else. Engineer company because you're going to be attacking over sea a lot, and that can help sometimes with the amphibious one later on, I think, but also mainly because you need entrenchment sometimes if you're trying to encircle a port. So that's what I like using this division for Marine Division wise. This is really probably the best Marine Division that I have found to work the best. Now, for the last template, has to be an exploit. Let me please explain to you the purpose of this, like while I'm showing it, because a lot of people in 3 games back to back have mocked me for doing this in multiplayer, but this division has kicked their butt every single time, and I've won each of those games, by the way. I know it looks so stupid, but hear me out. It has enough mountaineers that even though the other things in this division don't give bonuses to attacking mountains and things, it's enough that it actually lowers your penalty for attacking hills and mountains that it's almost like negligible. You can just ignore it sometimes. It's down to like 20%, 30% penalty for attacking over mountains instead of, I think it's the generic 50 to 60. Then it has enough Marines in here that you can do the exact same thing, but naval invade, and you'll get still so low of a naval invasion penalty because of the Marines in it that it doesn't really affect it too bad. And then you have 6 Arty in here because I like to use this as an attacking division over hills, over the sea, and just tons of things. Also, a field hospitals, logistics, everything else in here is a must because, and this is a definite must over on these support companies, because you're gonna need logistics because if they're Marines, they're probably gonna get encircled. If they have field hospitals, you're going to save the XP from them losing equipment, which happens a lot with this. You have the Arty to boost your soft attack so you can actually destroy the other divisions, and an engineer company to give you bonuses for attacking hills, marshes, forts, everything. So anyway guys, that is the templates, and I will be doing a part 2 video that actually has the mechanized and motorized templates and the armor templates that I have found to work the best in this game. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to go down below, leave a like, comment if you have any questions down there, and I'll be glad to answer them any way I possibly can. Also, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Stay awesome.